Hi, I'm Rachel Bubb, and I'm a certified financial planner at Cato Be Well. I want to talk to you about the different emotions and biases that can come into play and affect your financial decisions. So, finance has been traditionally based off of two assumptions. One, markets act in an efficient and predictable manner. And two, investors are rational and make decisions based on all available information. Well, what we've actually seen is that investors aren't always rational, and we're actually making more decisions based off of our emotions and biases and cognitive errors, which is ultimately impacting our long term financial plan. So, what if you could recognize your emotions or these biases coming into play when you're about to make an investment choice and ultimately counteract them so that you can be that rational investor that the market is already assuming that you should be? So here are some tips on how to counteract the biases and some of the warning signs that you should be looking for when you're in a challenging situation or you're starting to see your emotions overplay what is the rational choice for you.
Thank you, Rachel. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Chris Pinarelli, and I represent John Hancock Investment Management. And it's a pleasure to be sharing this information with you folks today. So we're going to start with loss aversion, people's tendency to strongly prefer avoiding losses over acquiring gains. Now, studies show that the psychological impact of a loss can be twice as powerful as the impact of a gain. Now, why would that be a big deal? Well, specifically, it leads to poor investment choices. Typically, what will happen is people will invest too conservatively given their risk tolerance and time horizon, what they're trying to achieve. And that can make it more difficult for them to reach their financial goals. So how do you tell if you're under the influence of this bias? Well, if you find yourself thinking or saying something like this, chances are you're under the influence of this bias. I can't sell now. It's down too far. It will come back eventually. This speaks to investors' reluctance to recognize the fact that, they didn't get that investment right and they should just basically move on and find something that's better. Conversely, oftentimes people will sell a good investment too quickly because they're afraid that it's going to go down after they've enjoyed some appreciation. Or, I don't mind staying in cash. The markets have been crazy lately. I'd rather be safe, right? So perhaps you've found yourself thinking or saying something like that. So what should you do about it? Well, the first thing I would say is just, embrace volatility. We all know that the stock market's going to go down. We just don't know when and how much, but it's really not a big deal. So just kind of embrace that volatility. That can be difficult for people to do. I totally understand. So maybe it would help if we learn a little bit about bull markets and bear markets. So when the market goes down 20% or more, we're in a bear market. And so if we go back to the 40s, 1946 specifically, there have been 12 bear markets. On average, they last about 14 months and the market goes down about 28%. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. I totally get that. And I'm asking you to kind of embrace this volatility. Why would I do that? Well, because on the flip side, there have been 13 bull markets since 1946. They last on average 55 months, so over 4 years. And the average return is 137%, more than enough to make up for the bear market. Additionally, what I would also point out is most investors don't have all of their investments in stocks, right? In the stock market, right? We get growth from equity and stability from fixed income. So typically, if the stock market's down 28%, typically the fixed income portion of the portfolio is providing some stability to the portfolio, which dampens the downside. The other thing you can do is involve impartial people like a financial advisor. So why is that important? Well, it kind of slows you down, right? So if you want to make a change and you're nervous, there's market volatility, and you have to call someone else like a financial advisor, it kind of slows you down. It doesn't increase the likelihood you're going to be happy about the decision you made, but at least it'll increase the likelihood that the decision you make is going to be reflective. You're going to take the time to do the analysis. It's going to increase the likelihood you'll be proud of that and that decision when you look back at it in retrospect, versus an intuitive decision, which is really a snap judgment, which is fine if you're just trying to decide what color jacket to wear today, but not a great way to make a decision if it's going to impact your financial future. Create a discipline plan and stick to it. If you want to increase the likelihood that you reach your financial goals and are protected from any type of financial emergency, you'll put together a financial plan. And in that plan, it's kind of baked in that there'll be a bear market. No one knows when there'll be a bear market. Nobody knows how far down the market's going to go, but we know it's going to happen. And the plan takes that into consideration. And in fact, oftentimes when the market pulls back, if you revisit your plan, you'll find that you're still on track to reach your financial goals, even though your account's gone down because of the bear market. And then finally, develop an emergency fund. That's 3 to 6 months of your bills in cash. That's really important because we never really know when an emergency is going to happen. And if it happens when the market goes down, you don't want to be forced to sell your stocks when the market's down. We want to buy low and sell high, not the opposite.
Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate what you just said about how in the plan, it's already baked in the expectation of a bear market, because we are predicting all these things that are going to happen within market cycles, because history has shown us that it will continuously happen. So if we manage our expectations and make sure that we're already assuming that, you're going to be a better investor and your plan is going to be stronger for it. So let's just sum it up and give you a few more actionable items to walk away with today. So you're going to be subject to these biases. Loss aversion is going to come into play, and forgive yourself when it does happen. Be kind, but just know that you can do some things ahead of time to prepare for it. So one, remember to write down that financial plan. You and your advisor created that. It's based on you, your goals, your vision, what you want out of life. So remember that, and that you created it. 2, identify the steps that you will take to help recover yourself when you start to feel yourself in reaction, feeling this loss aversion, feeling that fear and that emotion. Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to call your financial advisor? Make those actions. 3rd, set realistic expectations. Chris already said it. The market's going to go up and it's also going to go down. The sooner you realize it and accept it, the better off you will be stress-wise and your financial plan will be. 4th, use a strategy that you can contribute to the market continuously. So, you have your emergency funds, but if you can add a little bit every once in a while to the market and stick to a strategy, that's also really good behavior, because then you're participating at times when it may be going up, maybe going down, but you're already in the habit, versus if you want to get started, you might find all these reasons as to why not to. So maybe stop watching the news and just get started. And lastly, stay in touch with us. Your financial advisor wants to meet with you once a year. We want to talk about your plan. We want to make sure your goals are set and we're still on track to meet that lifetime vision. So stay in it, stay engaged, and ultimately you'll have a wonderful long-term financial plan, and you'll be successful for it.